All right, this is comfy. All right, so what are we doing down here? This is video number video number three on our five fundamental movements that we're doing here. Got a little itch. What are we doing on the floor? We're doing our forward press motion. And as I said before, because I'm working with very limited space and equipment, I don't have a bench. Now, typically this movement would be done with a bench, with a bench press exercise, the classic bench press, where you lie beneath, the bench. You got the bar, and you press like this. Press like so. I haven't done a bench press, if memory serves. I haven't done a bench press in approximately 18 years. I had a bit of an incident when I was 16 or so with my elbow, and I have not trusted the bench press ever since. Won't do it without a spotter anyway, but I digress. It doesn't need to be a bench press. That's why I'm saying it's the movement that's important. It's not the particular exercise, it's the movement. We need a forward press. We had our upward press, and we had our back, our pulling exercise, our row. Now we need to do a forward press to work our chest. So, I may not have a bench, but I do have a floor. So we gonna do some push-ups. That's right, we're doing push-ups today. Push-ups are so easy though. Not the way I do them. All right. This episode is probably going to have more variations included than any of the other episodes for these fundamental movements. Okay, because there's a lot of different ways that I've discovered how to do push-ups, and so we're gonna go through all of them. We're gonna go through every single one, and you can do whichever you think is best for you at your stage. All right. So first, let's demonstrate how to actually do a push-up in case you're not aware. Now, conveniently, so I was lining up this camera. Conveniently, as you can see, I have a paneled hardwood floor here, and so everything can be symmetrical. I don't have to worry about that very much, but I'm gonna get as close to the door back here as I can so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm gonna try to get my hands, let's comfortably separated from each other, right? They're gonna be wider than shoulder width. Okay, when I do this. Now there are ranges that you can have when doing this. The farther apart, this is the general rule, the farther apart your hands are, the more it'll work your chest. And the closer your hands are when doing a forward press motion, that's going to work more of your triceps. It's going to take some of the load off of your chest and work more of your triceps instead. Okay? But we are primarily concerned right now with our chest, so we're going to go about here. And just so that I don't have to, have less risk of having like one hand out farther than the other, I'm going to kind of stretch back like this. That's why I'm in this position. This is what I like to do. I like to stretch back and kind of stretch my hands as far forward as they'll go. That way I don't have to be so concerned about asymmetry. Okay? And then once I found my spot, here I am. Now, I'm not going to let my butt droop down towards the floor. I'm gonna try to keep it up just a little bit. Not even necessarily, I don't even want my body necessarily in a straight line. I actually somewhat, I don't want to hike up my butt. I just want to like have it stick up a little bit, okay? Just a little bit. And you'll see that more in the side view when I do that next. Assuming I don't get too tired before that as I'm doing this. Okay, all right. And now, like with our exercises, much like the row, we are going to put our shoulders back away from our ears, and we're going to unlike the row, we want to keep our shoulder blades contracted. That is, we're going to try to squeeze them together for the entire exercise, okay? And then we're going to go down and press back up. Breathe in and breathe out on the way up. Now, kind of like the other exercises, you want to try to stay looking forward, maybe even somewhat up. Okay, you don't want to be looking down, right? Some general rules. And also, this will help a lot with your push-ups too. As you're going down and you have your butt sticking, this is one of the reasons you want to have your butt up just a little bit. As you're going down, don't just try to lower your whole body toward the floor like this. What you actually want to do is hike up your butt just a little bit, and then as you go down, try to get your chest close to the floor, specifically your chest. Okay, like this. So it's not just going down like this. Okay, hike up your butt a little bit and go like this. Try to like push your chest into the floor without actually having it on the floor, and then press up again. Okay, now I'm going to show you that from the side. Whoop, down here. I'm going to show. All right, now I'm going to show you that from the side so that you can get a better look at the angles and whatnot. Okay. So make sure I'm in the camera here. Try to find a good spot. It makes sense because again, I'm working with limited space. Remember, I don't have a gym. I don't have like a dedicated workout room. Okay. This is what I'm working with here. So here we are. You see me? All right, you can see me. Okay, so I'm not going to have my butt hanging down like this and pushing up like this. I don't even really want it level. I want it up a little bit. Okay, kind of like this. And then as I go down, I'm going to let my elbows flare out a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to, as I have my shoulders back and shoulder blades contracted, squeezed together, I'm going to try to kind of press my chest into the floor and come back up again. Nice and rigid. Just like that. Okay? Down here again. Okay, so that's the proper way to do a push-up. A little bit of elbow flare. That flare, again, helps kind of like having your arms more spread apart. The more flare you have in your elbows, the more it's going to work your chest, okay? The less flare, again, it kind of works the other stuff, which is mostly your triceps. Something has to be lifting your body. And if it's not your chest, it's something else. But we're focusing on the chest with this. The triceps, and even to some extent the front delts, front part of your shoulder right here, should be secondary movers, okay? Unless you're specifically aiming at the triceps, but that's not what we're doing right now. Okay, so that is, I'm getting tired after all that. You guys are wearing me out. Okay, I had a nice good like shoulder and back and bicep workout before I did all this earlier this afternoon. I'm getting exhausted. All right, but anyway, variations. What are some variations? Well, if you find that regular push-ups are too easy, or if you're just a masochist, as I am, you get you some of these bad boys. All right, so what are these? These are push-up bars. They're cheap. I got them in like a set with a pull-up bar or something. Okay, they're cheap. What do? They just go on the floor, and you do push-ups with them. It's really simple. What's the benefit of these? Yeah, okay. What's the benefit of these? You'll see. All right. So we're going to get into position, right? I want my arms spread out a little more than shoulder width apart. I'm going to try to make sure that they're symmetrical on the floor, so one isn't like farther out than the other or really tilted while the other one's not, that sort of thing, as best as I can. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get into position, my cramped space here, and I'm going to contract my shoulder blades, put my shoulders back, put my butt up a little bit, and I'm going to come down. Now, here's the benefit of these. As I'm coming down, flaring my elbows out, I can get a really nice, good stretch on my chest. So that when I push my chest in, you're really able to push your chest in, okay? And you may notice, as I'm doing these, that there comes a point, and this is like my personal technique I've developed, okay? I never really heard anyone talk about this particular technique here. But as I get closer to the floor, it seems like there's a point at which I kind of stop moving my hips and everything, and I just start pushing my chest into the floor. So pay attention again as I'm doing that. Here we are, we're in position, set up, butts up just a little bit, right? We're gonna come down, and then about here is where I stop moving my hips, and I just start pushing my chest and stretching it out. And again, keeping your butt up a little bit helps you to do that. All right. So, what are the advantages of, some more advantages of doing what I just did? Okay. So again, this helps you get these push-up bars help you get a better range of motion. Okay. And that's again really important in lift and weight training and bodybuilding. Getting a full range of motion to develop the muscle as much as you can. Now, you might be thinking, well, what about that stretch? Might seem a bit dangerous, right? Now, I was at my dad's house demonstrating push-ups quite a while ago, and he was inquiring about that. You know, he was concerned about the stretch of the muscle because I was really stretching it out. And he goes, well, can't you tear it? You know, a valid concern. You know, if you stretch out a rubber band too much, it'll tear. If you stretch a lot of things too much, it'll tear. So it's a valid concern. Here's the thing. That never happens. Okay? People do experience like tears in their muscles. Okay, you could get like a bicep tear or tear your it's gruesome. It is an awful thing. I've never experienced that. But oh my goodness, you see like the aftermath of that. They're just all bruised up. It looks nasty. So that is definitely something you want to avoid. But it doesn't happen because you stretched your muscle during your exercise. It happens because you put too much weight on your muscle during an exercise. Like you were doing a bench press and you just had too much on there and bad things happen. Okay, getting a nice good pectoral stretch, a nice good chest muscle stretch when you're doing a bench press, some kind of pushing motion like a push-up or whatever, isn't going to tear your pec or your bicep or it's not going to tear anything. Okay, so while it's let's say a valid concern, it's a naive concern. Okay, because that sort of thing just doesn't happen. Now I mentioned that I like using these because I get a better range of motion and I get a nice good stretch, right? So it really I didn't do that much, okay? And I can just feel it in my chest right now. And I didn't work my chest earlier today. I worked I worked my back and my shoulders and my biceps. I didn't work my chest at all. No dedicated chest work. And right now, even just doing some push-ups, I can just feel it, all right? So I find that exercise very effective. But what I just showed you isn't even the way I actually do it. Because I make it yet harder on myself, okay? So here's what we're gonna do. All right, so I already set it up. What I have over here is a little chair. It's my daughter's, chair that she uses in the living room for her little table in here, okay? I like to use this as my prop when I'm doing my push-ups. You can use any sort of chair, that's with a 12-inch seat or even 1.5 feet or something. Like a regular dining room chair will do. I just really like this one, okay, for a number of reasons I won't get into right now. But we got that situated, okay? What we're gonna do, get these in position, avoid the table in front of us because we don't want to bash our head into that, okay? Here we go. Get into a comfortable spot, get into position, put our butt up a little bit, shoulders back, and go down. Now, this is effectively the same, right? This is the same kind of thing as doing I'm on the floor, except changing that angle a little bit helps to work your upper chest, okay? So when people are at the gym and they're doing a dumbbell press on a bench, okay, when they're pressing with dumbbells upward like this, they often won't lie straight back, but they're not sitting up either as if they're doing a shoulder press, okay? They'll angle the bench at about a 45-degree angle, and they'll press upward like this because it works more of the upper chest, which is another neglected area, okay? Because if you're doing your work just flat on the floor, if you're pressing just flat on the floor like this, it'll get your chest, and it will get somewhat your upper chest, but it won't get it a lot, okay? So if you want to have a nice rounded chest, you need to elevate your feet. You need to find some way to make it more angled, so that when you go down, okay, so that when you go down like this, you're not just like parallel with the floor, okay? Because my feet are up, so I'm not parallel with the floor. So I stick up my butt like this, and I dig real deep with my chest into the floor, and then I push up. And I can get a really nice upper chest activation from that, okay? Now, if I'm being honest with you, I can tell you that when I first started doing these back in my old apartment, back in my old life a couple years ago, we had our couch in the middle of the living room, just like on a sitcom, okay? You know how there's always, in a sitcom, there's always like a couch, like in Family Matters or something, there's like a couch, Seinfeld, there's a couch in the middle of the room. It's like, who actually does this? But we actually did it, my ex-wife and I, in our old apartment. We did that. It worked out. We were able to walk around the couch and stuff. You didn't have to walk in front of somebody. If they were watching something or playing a video game, it was very, very practical. But anyway, so what I would do, because I could get behind the couch, is I would put my feet up on the back of the couch. And then I would do my push-ups that way. Now that's a very, tall angle that you're working with to get to your upper chest. But the problem with that is that it might be a little too much. It might be a little bit too angled. Because if you angle it too much, right, it starts becoming more of an upward press motion, and you start working more of your deltoids, your shoulder muscles. So maybe that wasn't the best idea. Probably should have just used a chair. But I didn't know what I was doing, so I did it. So there you go. Push-ups. Easiest to most difficult. Easiest is just be on the floor. And if you need to make it even easier, okay, if you're particularly weak in that area. You're very small, okay? Small lady for example, okay? And you need to, you know, kind of use your knees as a prop and go down like this. That's okay. That's better than nothing. All right, it's certainly better than nothing. If that is actually challenging for you, go ahead and do that. Just make sure you follow the rules about posture, you know, about mechanics, that you're still pushing your shoulder blades back, okay, and you're lowering your chest towards the floor. You're trying to look up while you're doing it. All right, don't break the rules. Don't make accommodations against the rules. Don't compromise those things. But you're allowed to make these easier if you have to make it easier, right? And then you've got the standard push-up, as I demonstrated, which is just, you know, feet on the floor, butt up a bit. Just try to get that chest into the floor and try to leave your shoulders out of it. Try to keep your shoulders pushed back, shoulder blades contracted, you know, squeezed together throughout the entire exercise. Then you can, in no particular order, if you want to hit more upper chest while doing that, put your feet up on a chair. If you want more stretch in your pecs to really emphasize the stress, you know, the activation of your pecs, then get yourself some push-up bars and put your feet up on the chair. Because that'll do it. That'll give you a nice big stretch. Like, it actually feels pretty good. And I can't do a ton of reps that way. You know, regular push-ups, I can pound out the reps. But when I've got the push-up bars and I got my feet up on a chair and I'm really stretching it, and I might even hold. Not even might, I do, especially towards the end. Towards the end of a set, I'll get to the bottom and I'll just hold that stretch and just feel it just ripping me apart. Damaging the muscle, okay? Not like literally causing me harm, but damaging the muscle as it needs to, so that the muscle can then adapt and become stronger later. I can just feel it ripping me apart. So that's push-ups. That's your forward press motion. And if you do have access to a gym and you got a bench press, you can do that instead. You can do any forward pressing motion is valid, okay? Just make sure it's some kind of forward press. All right, so that's the end of video number 3. That's all the upper body stuff. We've covered it. Now it's on to the lower body, legs and glutes. See you in video number 4. Thanks for watching.